Now alone, without a career, she's trying to understand how it all went wrong.
Having studied medicine for my mother, I then got a chance to go into the city through Brad.
200 on
Can I need some responses on this?
1 to 10 by 2.
Although in the beginning I was learning, by a certain stage I was certainly pulling my weight. I remember very clearly a moment when I was sitting on the dealing desk and thinking, well, I don't care. I don't have to compromise. I don't have to sort of play the corporate game, because in the end, I'm sure I'll get married and have children and be dependent and somebody will support me, and so what do I care? I mean, it's ultimate complicity.
I studied to be a solicitor and hated it. And I couldn't.
Why?
I hated offices. I hated playing that role of business and, I can't think why I hated it. I couldn't do it, really.
Who's doing marks on APT?
It's very difficult for women to really be clear. I certainly never took anything really that seriously. So yes, I was successful, but it was a little bit of a game to me.
Can I check it?
29. I am trying to sell.
G and I were buying the 101 calls ahead of...
You got any news on that auction?
I was a partner at Lazar Brothers Capital Markets Group, which was highly prestigious and extremely well paid, because I was a partner and I had a percentage of the profits. And when Brad wanted me to come back and work with him again, well, actually I got pregnant. That's what happened.
And as you focus on your baby, you may like to imagine a really beautiful color with a lot of light in it surrounding the baby.
Imperia, empirical, criterion, Ventura,
Sterling. Next Sterling, please.
Altiora.
And just whatever you feel you'd like to say to your baby. And every baby loves to be told you're wanted and welcome here.
I need that bread, that much. Okay, what time do you expect to get on the market?
I got pregnant and he said, look, you know, have an abortion. Don't tell anybody. I wasn't allowed to talk about it to anybody. And in a couple of years' time, we'll get married and have a family. As a partner, I gave up $1 million bonus to go and be nothing. I didn't insist on any title, any stock, anything. Now, a man just wouldn't have done that.
Why did you want to do that?
Well, you know, because you say, well, it's for love and because you trust someone. I trusted this man. I would have laid down on the road and let him drive a car over me. You know, I really trusted this man.
Many of us feel we cannot, in the end, ride the uncomfortable conflicts and emotions stirred up by the competitive world of work. But for women, there are other possibilities. Another world of motherhood and children beckons an escape.
I kept pushing myself along, as I did in boarding school for the A-levels. I did it because something told me I couldn't get out of it. But I did it half-heartedly, you know. I didn't do it with all of me in it. And then I became pregnant, and it saved me.
split up with Brad, a friend of mine asked me what I enjoyed doing, and I couldn't answer the question. I was just so out of touch with myself. Yeah, I could enjoy anything, but the fact was I had no idea what I enjoyed doing. And so when I got the settlement, and I had some money, and I could do whatever I wanted, I really didn't know what to do. And I bought this chateau, this big house in France, which had been my mother's fantasy, not mine. Now, she didn't ask me to do this. It's much more subtle than that. You internalize your mother's fantasies, you internalize your mother, you internalize what she wants, what will win you approval, perhaps. So I bought this giant house that maybe the whole family could get together in and all this business. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I kept wandering around this house, wondering where my script was.
I think the thing is that with my mother, she is very aware of her feelings and of feelings. She didn't pretend they weren't going on. But I have a sense from my childhood, really, that she felt she couldn't change things. And I think the effect that had on me was that there was a real sort of gut determination not to let anybody get in between me and my children.
The world of motherhood seems so safe, so secure, an intimate place from which all conflicts, anger, and disappointment can be banished. At last, women feel in reach of an identity founded on loving and being loved. But even these strong walls can be breached. If motherhood is used to escape the uncomfortable conflicts of the outside world, it can be perilous. Buried feelings have a habit of coming back to the surface.
Try and throw it to the mummy ones.
Why?
Because the daddy ones push. I think when I was pregnant, I do remember saying to somebody, I'm frightened that she won't love me, that my baby won't love me. And this person said, all you have to do is love her, is love the baby. And I think that's maybe my fear, actually, that she'll look at me and see somebody who isn't there for her.
I'm never going to be able to do it.
You say that sometimes you hit her.
Yeah, I have hit her. I've gone for her, you know, lost my temper and gone for her. Yeah. And I wouldn't do that with Sam. I don't know why that happens. I don't do it a lot or anything, but I have done it. Sometimes I don't support her in exactly the same way that I feel my mother didn't support me, and I don't like that. I hate myself when I see myself doing that, and then I get cross, and then I shout at Zoe.
When I had my own baby, he's 10 now, so he's quite a big baby now, I definitely was sort of terribly idealistic and, I don't know, somehow wanting to be there completely for him. And I held him all the time and never went anywhere without him for about the first 3 years. And I think that I was the one that was insecure, and I was the one that needed the holding and the reassurance and so on, and I was sort of trying to do that to him in a way. So I think I was somehow compensating for something in myself. And in a sense, he became how I was. It was as if he was copying how I felt inside, or how the little girl part of me actually felt insecure and lonely. That was what he was feeling and copying in a way.
If motherhood is used to run away from yourself, it shouldn't come as so much of a shock if a woman mistakenly believes she has to run away from her children to save herself. Many mothers do this emotionally, withdrawing from their children. But Eva did it literally. She left 3 young children, and only now in a new marriage feels able to re-establish a relationship with them, starting with weekend visits.
Well, I was the one who instigated the idea of having a child. I was the one who wanted to have the child. When the child actually came along, I wasn't a person anymore. I was a mother. I wasn't an individual with a brain anymore. I was just a mother of his child, and I wasn't allowed to let the child out of my sight, and I had obligations towards the child. Sort of far more responsibilities than I thought he would ever expect me to have. I still can't work out in myself, why didn't I just simply get up and go with the one, let alone when, producing 3 children and then deciding that I really had to go.
I thought she left them in.
I resented them, even though I know I'm an adult and I consciously made the decision to have them. I actually resented their being there. I resented the time they took out of my life. A lot of it had to do with me feeling that I was unable to control my destiny. Therefore, having produced 1 child, there was no other way out, and therefore I may as well stay on and have another and another after that.
I resist her being a child. I resist being her mother. I want her to be more grown up than she is. It's when she needs me that I find it difficult, actually.
Why do you think?
I feel that I'll fail her.
Why do you feel that?
Don't know.
Because your mother failed you?
No, possibly. Possibly.
Both your daughters would say that they lived their lives in very complicit ways, that they have tried to please other people, particularly other men. Would you take any responsibility for that?
I would. Yes, indeed I would. Because I think that it was the way I brought up, and unfortunately, or fortunate or whatever, I, in a way, passed it on to them. And therefore, if they lived to please their partners, yes, in a way, it is my fault.
How do you feel about leaving your children now?
I feel extremely guilty because I consciously made the decision to have 3 children, knowing that I wasn't happy and knowing that really the relationship wasn't going to last. But still, there are 3 young children in the world, and I've left them, and they have to get on with life without me. So that's why I feel guilty, because I was in the wrong.
And how do you feel about becoming a mother yourself?
I just don't want to abandon my children. I don't want to repeat a pattern. It's very frightening. I don't want to do to my children what happened to me.
I did my best. And as far as I can think and evaluate my behavior and my parenting and whatever, I couldn't have done better. I love them to distraction, and I wanted to do my best. I would have given everything to my children.
Do we really know the complicated messages which pass between daughter and mother? The love, the identification, even the jealousy. Will my daughter also one day rage at me for loving her too much or too little, for wanting too much from her or holding her back?
Your pain is real, but the reality of this is zilch.
And I remember as a child you said you're evil, you're spiteful. Do you have any idea what that does? What that does to my life, how it makes me feel that everybody who might know me, everybody who might love me, will eventually find out I'm flawed.
Nonsense. Everybody has a spiteful gene.
You're negating what I feel. I mean, the only way in the end that you feel is when you just feel someone might love you just because you are.
Maggie, you take your genes. Now, if I may say so, you take
it doesn't
your
matter.
genes.
The fact is, the pain is there, and I don't give a damn. And the fact is, you go to therapy and you try and work it out. Yeah. Because yes, I mean, in the end, intellectually, I can say, yeah, of course, I'm not inherently spiteful. Of course, I'm not inherently evil. No. But the fact is, if you've been told that since you were, as long as you can remember, it takes you years to work it out of your bloody system.
Not as long as you can remember. You know, you do exaggerate. You take it after your mother. You do exaggerate. And you know, I was given to it.
Why can't you just acknowledge my pain? Why can't you just say, fuck it, I'm sorry?
But it isn't real. It just doesn't exist. Because you're loved and you're cherished.
But you've got to feel that. You've got to feel that as much as you feel the pain.
It is in your head. And you have to get rid of it. And you make me cry because I was, you know, it's so ridiculous. It's so stupid that it makes me cry.
Right, let's write down Joseph and
Harriet.
Wait, don't forget Harriet. Harriet went.
I pressed H.
Good. Went to the
Mummy.
pond.
Do you feel that you have sacrificed and maybe are sacrificing a lot of your own individuality in trying to be a good mother?
Yes, I actually, I know it's hard to believe because to many people outside I seem like a kind of successful professional woman. Actually, I spend a lot of my life feeling like a drudge. There've been, several moments in my life where I've actually run away from a career. One was when one of my books was published and there was a lot of sort of media attention to it. And I think I must have got pregnant practically the week it was published. And it felt more comfortable, actually, to be honest. It felt much easier for me than having to go on with some of the kind of, what I perceived as sort of falseness and hypocrisy and the competition and the individualism. I think breaking with complicity is when you can at last actually look at what your real feelings are and own up to them, whether they're anger, frustration, envy, competitiveness, any of those feelings that, all of us had such difficulty in our childhood acknowledging. Breaking with complicity is about actually knowing who you are. It's got nothing to do with leaving people and leaving your responsibilities.
And do you feel you've reached that stage yourself now?
No, I mean, I don't at all. I think I can write about these things and think about them because I'm still very much in them and grappling with them. I don't feel at all as if I've really emerged from them. I'm still racked by guilt, wanting to be an ideal mother, wanting to have a career and feeling guilty about it. All those things are still, you know, my preoccupations. I haven't broken with them, but I made the first step, which is sort of having a think about them.